All right, everybody, welcome into the high noon edition of Pugs and Company, heard each and every Monday through Friday noon till just about whenever. This is one of two. That's two offerings that we bring you each and every day. Well, not every day, because that would be silly. That would be too much work. We also do what we call the Pillow Talk edition, which airs from 9 p.m. Central Standard Time until it usually goes a couple hours, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. But that's it. That's two shows. Pillow Talk, a little bit less, formatted, a little bit more free balling, a little bit more silly at times, I suppose. We have people on with me. It's more of a, guest kind of a deal. We get James Parker involved. He's down there in New Orleans. He joins me. We get Sunglasses, who is known during the day show, High Noon, which is what this is. Sunglasses, who's known as E the Artist during the daylight hours. He joins us as well. But, oh boy, none of them today. Some things going on today. Parker, if you are a listener to the Pillow Talk edition, you know that Parker is moving. He's moving from New Orleans back to his hometown of Tyler, Texas. And I believe this is moving week. So he is unavailable. He says he might be available tonight. We will see. We will see how that shakes out. And Sunglasses is out doing crazy family stuff. He's it's a big family week. This is the kickoff to the family season, right? This is Thanksgiving week. Hold on. Whoa, hold on. Got an issue that keeps happening. Oh, I see what it is. See, the computer that we run this show on seems to unplug itself very easily. It's not a real strong, tight, snug fit into the back of the computer where the little charger goes in. And it's also it's tethered on a line that is tight. So any movement that I make of the computer will inadvertently jostle the connection just a bit, just enough for it to start to, lose battery. And, then before you know it, the whole thing is crashed. That's pretty much what happened today. All right. So some notes on today's show. We're going to run through like we always do here on the High Noon broadcast, which is, I like to call it a utilitarian stream. We like to give you things that you can actually use, utilities in your life, all the information that's going on around the interwebs, the news channels, whatever people are talking about, trending topics, hot topics, trends, whatever, that's what we talk about here. We try to get you all prepped up so that you can move forth in your life without feeling like an idiot when someone gets up to you I don't know. Do you even have water coolers? I always say water coolers, but that's kind of just a default thing. When somebody comes up to you and goes, "Hey, did you hear about?" You can say, "Yes, I sure did," because I listen to High Noon every Monday through Friday with Pugs Moran. All right, let me get situated here, and then I'll explain to you what's happening. So this is going to be me. So there's probably going to be some rants. There's probably going to be some stream of consciousness nonsense. Probably going to say stuff that I'm going to regret, but hey, that's what happens when I don't have anyone to talk to except for you, the fine listener in the chat room. And it's a weird week, folks. I get it. People are out of their normal schedules. People are doing things. Some people are taking it off. And that's kind of why this show may not go the full 2 hours. I got my kid. My kid is off school all week. So he's in the other room. And that's also why, he's not here because he's out running around with his kid. But we do have things to talk about. And we're also going to do a Pillow Talk edition tonight at some point. Again, though, I don't know that it'll be the full show. We'll try and give you whatever we can. But my job here and my job now is to get you all prepped up for the day ahead, which I suppose it's only the day ahead if you woke up like me just 3 hours ago. But, if you're a normal person and you woke up at like 7 a.m, Pugs, what are you talking about? The day's almost over. All right, so let's get started. Today is November the 22nd. It is the 326th day of the year. 327 if you count leap year, which we do not around here. Leap year is communism. 39 days remain until the end of the year, so that would make what, 32? 32-ish until Christmas. At some point, I'm going to do the whole breakdown where I get, we'll get a static countdown of how many days there are until Christmas. We're just too far out now. That might start like maybe on December 1st. Bear with me. How many days until Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is Thursday. So we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 3 days until Thanksgiving. There you go. And wishing you all just the most blessed and joyous of family seasons. It is also Scarlett Johansson Day. Scarlett Johansson is 37 years old. which there was a time in my I've admired Scarlett Johansson for quite a long time. I mean, what's not to admire? Brilliant actress, classy dame, hot. There was a time when I wasn't really all that comfortable with expressing my uh, appreciation for her because she was too young. But she's not too young anymore. Scarlett Johansson is 37 years old today. Grown ass woman. That's a grown ass woman. For some, hell, you ask my 12-year-old son, he'd probably tell you that's an old woman, but not for me because I'm an old man. That's still a beautiful young chippy. Scarlett Johansson, 37 years old today. On this day, couple of things. Well, I'll tell you what. Usually, I like to go in order. I like to give you, in 1945, and then I'll give you in 1959, and then I'll give you in 1972. See, I work up right to the modern day. We'll do that a little different today. In 1995, today, Toy Story was released. It's the first big deal because it's the first feature-length film completely created using computer CGI. It was the first completely CGI film, was released on this day in 1995. How'd that work out? How'd that work out for CGI? Did that ever take off? Did that ever become a thing? I don't know. We can always... Toy Story, one of the biggest film properties. I was reading something this morning about the whole Toy Story thing, and I can't pull it up from memory because, like I say, I'm an old man and I don't really retain information the way I once did. But it's one of the largest grossing franchises in film history. I believe it's the largest grossing franchise in animated history. Although I could be wrong about that because there was also some talk about, spin-offs and merchandising and all that. So maybe that plays into it. But whatever. Well, if you came up with Toy Story in 1995, you're probably a rich guy today. All right, let's see what today is. Today is the National Day of... Okay, let's see here. We always like to do this. We like to see what it's the National Day of. Oh, wow, look at this. Look, well, this is interesting. Typically, there's like 4 or 5 different days being commemorated. Today, just one. Today, November the 22nd, National Cranberry Relish Day. Now, cranberry, right? I'm not a big fan. Cranberry juice and vodka, I guess, is all right if you're looking to pound something that doesn't taste awful, because what you've got there is a combination of cranberry juice, which tastes awful, and vodka, which also tastes awful. And when you mix the two, there's some sort of beautiful effect that takes place where neither one is too awful. So I like a nice cranberry and vodka every now and again. But I do not like cranberry relish. Is that like, that's have you ever had like the cranberry stuff? I think that's what this is. The cranberry stuff that you get at Thanksgiving that somebody made from scratch. And it's like, looks like a borscht. You know what that is? The Russian soup. It's like red, and there's like bumps in it, and there's like little cranberries, and there's other things. They put like weird, spicy, weird, old-timey flavorings in there, and it's just awful. And what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to spray that? Let me tell you something. I do not cotton to the National Cranberry Relish Day. You know what I am? Can of cranberry. That's it. You know the canned cranberry? The cans, you just get in the cans, you hit it on the bottom and it goes, it's like hard to get out. And then when it does come out, it's just like this grotesque looking gelatinous can shaped goo of Jello. That's the bomb. That stuff is good. You slice it up, you put it on a turkey sandwich. But apparently that's white trash. Apparently I'm considered white trash because I don't appreciate the actual fresh cranberry relish, which we're all being told to appreciate today because, again, it is National Cranberry Relish Day. So there's that. Oh, you know what? Do you watch this the show Succession? If you watched the show Succession on HBO, which for my money is the best HBO show that's ever been produced. Sorry, Sopranos. Sorry, The Wire. Sorry, Boardwalk Empire. And even larger than that, sorry, Breaking Bad. I think Succession is fantastic. Logan Roy, who is the Rupert Murdoch-based character in Succession. He's got all the money in the world, super wealthy, super powerful. He ordains presidencies. That's how powerful this guy is. at least within the universe of the show. Canned cranberries. That's it. What do you get the man who has everything? It's like an ongoing bit in the show. Thanksgiving dinner, everybody shows up with a can of that like Del Monte. I don't even know if it's Del Monte, but everyone shows up with like that, 79-cent can of cranberries because Logan Roy is just like me. He likes that stuff. He doesn't like the other crap. All right. You know what we need to do? We need to get started here with a moment of joy. We do this each and every day. We try to bring a little bit of happiness before we get into the nonsense of the day at large. So, boy, do I have a good one for you today, folks. This is our moment of joy. I got no one to tell me, so let me make sure we're sharing this. All right, watch this. Just sit back and just watch this, and tell me the world sucks after watching this. Go ahead.
Open door, please, mommy, and please, please.
All right, first of all, if you're not on your knees just weeping uncontrollably already at the sight of an adorable little kid on crutches, you're dead inside. You're dead inside.
Open door. Hi, guys.
Oh, I'm killed. I'm dead. Put me in a box. Hi, guys. Are you kidding me with this?
Hi, guys.
Oh, kill me now. Roman Dinkle recently learned to walk with his crutches. Roman, you little awesome kid. Dinkle, too, was born with spina bifida. Look at his glasses. Look at how he's smiling. Oh, you go, Roman. Go, little Roman Dinkle.
Oh, that's good. Do it again.
Look at he's hopping. You go, Roman. Now Roman's Facebook videos have millions of views and counting. Look at Roman! Roman's mom, Roman's dad, Roman's family, Roman smiling. Roman does nothing but smile. He could make even the grumpiest person smile, said his mom, Whitney Dinkle.
I love you. Bye.
I'm dead! Are you kidding me? Hi, guys. I love you.
Hi, guys. I love you.
You're welcome. End the show. No reason to go any further. I don't want to exist in the world that exists after the things we talk about here. This is the world that I choose to operate in. Hi, guys. I love you. Lil Roman. And by the way, could there have been a more fitting name for this little guy? Dinkle? Roman Dinkle? How cute is that? One more time. One more time. I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of it, and you shouldn't either. Look at that puss. Look at that little guy.
Hi, guys. I love you.
I love you, Roman Dinkle. I want to bring you home. I want to dress you in little clothes. Except I don't ever want you to grow. I want you to stay like this forever. There he goes. I mean, seriously, folks, every once in a while we get one. That's one. That's a moment of joy. That was really loud, wasn't it? Let's see this. Still too loud. Hold on. That's a way we like it. All right. All right. How about that, Roman Dinkle? There's your moment of joy. Now, trending today is also an anniversary today. Today in 1963, in our fair city of Dallas, John F. Kennedy was assassinated. That's right. It happened today, 1963. How many years ago was that? So 70 would be 30, 40, 51... plus 7, 58 years ago. Wait, is that right? Yeah, 58 years ago today. Not we all. I mean, I'm not that old, I'm not that old. I was still a few years away. So, but anyway, this is what went down here in our fair city of Dallas,
President
Texas.
Kennedy has been shot in Dallas, Texas. He was shot while he was touring town with Governor Connally in the famous bubble car. The bubble was down. Both Mrs. Kennedy and Mrs. Connally were in the car with them. 3 shots rang out, and the president slumped forward, and Governor Connally remained seated upright. So far, the latest word is that they are still alive. Mrs. Kennedy, as soon as the president slumped forward, she grabbed him, she cradled him in her arms, and she said, "Oh no," and tried to hold up his head. Then the car was quickly taken out of line and sped to the hospital.
We have received word that 2 priests who were with the president have reported that the president is dead. Now, here again, we must emphasize that this is not an official announcement. It has not been announced by the White House or anyone in the official party traveling with the president. But the Associated Press quotes 2 priests who were with the president, stating that he died from the bullet wounds or wound inflicted upon him by a sniper. We have to assume that it was a sniper who fired from a considerable distance. The president was given the last rites of the Roman Catholic Church at about 1 o'clock Dallas time.
All right, so there you have it. That's that happened here. One of the defining moments in the civic history of the city of Dallas, Texas, where I personally call home. Interesting story about this. Well, actually, you'll be the judge of whether or not this is interesting or not. On my first day arriving in Dallas, this is back early November 2001, and we were being driven from the airport by station sent a limousine for us because big media personalities being brought in from Chicago. So we're in the back of a limousine, and we're talking with the driver. The driver was a great guy. I never saw him again, I don't think, but he was a nice. I remember. Here's the thing you got to do. If you're ever in a limousine, you can be the a-hole guy who says, close the divider. I don't want to have anything to do with you, limousine driver guy, because you're the servant and I'm the master. Nah, don't do that. Make sure that the thing stays down. Talk to the dude. Come on. Maybe he doesn't want to talk to you. That is something that you have to measure in the moment. You have to decide, is this a chatty Cathy or is this some guy who hates his job and wants nothing to do with you elitist limousine riding scum? But I had determined at this point that he was a chatty Cathy. So I started talking to him about stuff. And as we were coming down 635, LBJ. Is that LBJ? Yeah, it's LBJ. We were approaching the High Five area where the original radio station was, and I was commenting on the tall buildings and how it was so strange that there were tall buildings in the Dallas area, not confined solely to the downtown area, which most cities are. Like in Chicago, where I come from, the really tall buildings are in downtown, and then there are codes that you can only build to a certain level outside of the city. So it's more like, so you get a skyline kind of a deal. So we're driving down, and I say, what is with all these buildings? Why aren't they? How are they allowed to be so high? Why is this a thing? Doesn't that sort of detract from the skyline as whole? And the guy says to me, great classic Texan dude. He's like, Pugs, you're going to have to understand one thing. The person who designed the roads and the original urban planner was a crazy person in this town. And I laughed. I said, ha, 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 because, apparently the roads don't make any sense. And I know that now, but I didn't know that then. But he was just trying to warn me that there is no block system, that roads go diagonal, that you can have a street that goes east and south and north and west. They all do the same thing. It's crazy. If you've ever lived anywhere else and then tried to drive around the Metroplex, you're like, this is crazy. A lunatic designed the road system in this town. So he told me that. And then he said something that I thought I never forgot it. He goes, one thing you need to understand about people in Dallas is that we define ourselves by 2 things: a football team and the murder of a president. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, that is a little bit of crazy here, whole lot of crazy. That is a wide-ranging set of views to define yourselves by. And that occurred on this day, November 22nd, 1963. Of course, Kennedy was killed on that day. The conspiracy lives on, man. I'm telling you, people still, they go back and forth with what they think about that. Mafia is my take. I believe that it was a conspiracy, but it was a mafia deal. I could go into that. Great. You got to buy me a beer. You got to buy me a beer, and then I'll get into you with everything that I have researched in my decades of surfing the internets and all the things that I believe to have gone into my belief that it was the mafia, specifically the Chicago mafia, the outfit working at the behest. Well, they went back on a deal. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that Accardo and Giancana, they had made a deal with Joe Kennedy to deliver the unions to John F. in the election. And then as soon as he became president, he started cracking. He made his brother Bobby the attorney general. Bobby started cracking down on the Teamsters. They were angry. And yeah. So I believe it was the mafia, and there's a whole way. I got a whole bunch of stuff. Again, buy me a beer, and I'll tell you all about it. At any rate, the other thing about this is if you live in Dallas, and this is a phenomenon that happens all the time, people who live in cities their entire life, they tend to not really be familiar with all the things that tourists do when they come to their cities. An example is I'm from Chicago. I know a bunch of people who have never been to the Sears Tower, because that's something that, tourists, they come to the city of Chicago for a convention or whatever, maybe a Cubs game, whatever. And they go to the Sears Tower. They go up to the observation deck. They look at everything. They look across the lake. They look at the skyline. Ooh, isn't this cool? Ooh, look how high we are. And that whole thing. But people who actually live there, there's a better than not chance that like people who have grown up their entire lives in Chicago have never been to the Sears Tower. You look at it. Yeah, there it is. I see it every day of my life. It's that building 20 miles away that sticks out through the clouds. We know what it is. But unless you were on a field trip or something like that, you probably didn't have the opportunity nor the care. That's what I've discovered about Dallas. There are crap tons of people here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex who have not only never been to the Grassy Knoll, but they've never been to the Fifth Floor Museum, which is the museum dedicated to the entire the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And if you haven't done that, if you're a Dallas resident who has never been there, Sixth Floor Museum, did I say Fifth Floor Museum? Conspiracy! If you've never been to the Sixth Floor Museum, do yourself a favor and go. It is really great. Well, I mean, interesting, I suppose is the word. Yeah, dedicated to the murder of a president. I don't know how that could be great, but it is certainly very well done and real informative. And if you're like me and you love the crazy conspiracy theories, that place gives you the approved version of things that happen there. So you can go and you can compare notes with the crazy stuff that fills your head, like the crazy stuff that fills my head on that subject, and you can see what it's the Warren Commission, and you can actually I don't know if you can do this anymore, but you used to be able to, or no. Yeah, here's what it is. You were never able to get Oswald's point of view, right? Like the window where Oswald supposedly, where Oswald fired the shots is glassed off in a glass box, but apparently inside the box it looks just like it did. There's some, it was a warehouse, and there's some boxes and stuff like that. But I don't think they want people being able to stand where Oswald was and then look down at the X on the street, because there's an X on the street where the kill shot was. They don't want people to be able to do that, because I believe people would go, that's not a shot he could make. There's no way that's a shot. First of all, there's a big giant tree there. People go, oh, but that was 50 years ago. That tree wasn't as big. Oh, stop it. That tree's been big for 100 years. That tree is a big tree. I don't know how you shoot around it. For me personally, it doesn't look like a shot that could be made. But hey, whatever. What do I know? I'm not a gun guy. I've had other gun guys who say that, no, you could totally, especially if you were a sniper. All right. So you got to do that. You got to go, and you got to go to the Grassy Knoll. You got to walk around that. There's a nice little, there's all kinds of circuses that still to this day happen to. Oh, and today, I bet it's got to be nuts. I wonder if there's a cam. Shouldn't there be like a static webcam that's just constantly on the Grassy Knoll area there in downtown, just so we can see, what's, because there's always something going on. I lived for a period of time about 2 blocks away from it. And oddly enough, I used to walk my dog on the grassy knoll. My son, who's in the other room, he learned to toddle on the grassy knoll. So, it's still an area of town with grass. It's an open space. It's a nice little thing. There's a tribute and a monument and all that kind of stuff. But so I mean, I would go down there and I'd be walking my dog or strolling the kid, or most times both, because taking the kid out is a good excuse to walk the dog. And there was this guy, and his name was Leo, and he was out there every single day. And I used to chat up with Leo. I used to talk to him. He's one of these crazy, crazy conspiracy guys, and he always would tell you about this and that and that. Oh, I'm telling you, Pugs, you don't know the whole story. I'm like, okay, Leo, tell me the whole story. And then he'd go on and on and on. Well, there are people like that down there every day. Today, it's just got to be nuts. Today, it's got to be crazy because, the anniversary and all that. Let's take a look into the chat room and see what everybody's doing in there. John says, EarthCam has a link to Dealey Plaza that is active. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? At some point today, we're going to check that out. Let's see. Jeff Glenn's never been to the 6th floor museum. Afternoon, all. Hi, Steve. Welcome in. Let's see here. Speaking of Succession, Jeff says, I'm becoming more and more attracted to Shiv, which each episode. What are you trying to do, Jen? What are you trying to do, Jeff? What are you trying to do? I got a whole show planned here. Are you trying to get me to stop down and divert into some Succession talk? Because I'll do some Succession talk. And now you want me to specifically talk about Shiv? Oh, I'll talk about Siobhan Roy. I will talk about Sarah Snook, I believe is the actress who plays her. Okay, so what? You're becoming more and more attracted to Shiv with each episode. I am just the opposite, Jeff. I am becoming less and less attracted to Shiv with each episode. And I'll tell you why. In the beginning of Succession, Shiv is one of the daughters who is in line to succeed. See the title, Succession. It's about who's going to take over the company. Shiv is the daughter, the only daughter, who is in line to succeed her father, who is, again, a Rupert Murdoch type, as the boss of this global media empire. Now, Shiv is sort of the, she seems to be she's presented, especially in the first 3 seasons, as the most competent. But because she's a woman, dad's old school, she seems to be the most competent, and she seems to be the most normal. She is rebelling in a degree to her family, which is this right-wing Fox News kind of family. She is a Democratic political strategist. And, if you watch the show, you understand that she doesn't really have any ideals or values or anything like that. She's just trying to needle her dad. She's just looking for daddy attention. So she went the other way and is advising, liberal politicians. That's her gig. But I'll tell you what, she's beautiful. Look, she's beautiful. She's red hair. She's got a ridiculous body. She's got a great body. She really does. You go to Bing and pull up some Sarah Snook images. You'll see her in other things. But here's why I don't like her. Because whereas every child that is in line to succeed the dad has obvious flaws and are obviously terrible. Like, I'll give you an example. Kendall, the oldest son, drug addict, super rich, entitled, a-hole, just a jerk, just condescending to everybody, thinks his shit doesn't stink because he's, born into billions. So he sucks. And then you got Roman. Roman is played by Kieran Culkin, who is actually my favorite character in the show at this point. Kieran Culkin is Roman Roy. He is not a drug addict, but also entitled, also a total asshole, but he really leans into the asshole thing, and he uses humor. So he's really funny, but he's really mean funny. Like, he's so condescending and superior to everyone that he talks to that it's hysterical. So there's that. And then you got Connor. Connor is the oldest boy, but he's from a different marriage. Connor is played by, remember Ferris Bueller's best friend in Ferris Bueller? Alan Ruck, I believe is the actor's name. That's Connor. Connor is also really entitled, really superior, raised with billions, total asshole dude, like 60 years old now, complete jerk off. But he's dumb as a bag of hammers, but doesn't know that he's dumb as a bag of hammers. So there's some funniness there. Now that brings us to Shiv and why I'm starting to really dislike Shiv. Because although for the first few seasons she was positioned as, well, the most tolerable one, the girl who is smarter than everyone else, who is more capable than everyone else. Shiv is a poser. Shiv has all the bad characteristics of her brothers and her family. And she, gets on her high horse and platitudes about the plight of the working man and all that. But she's full of bullshit. She's being revealed now in this season that she is awful. She doesn't love her husband. She doesn't seem to love anybody except the only thing she seems to want in this world is her father's approval. So there you go. That's my hot take on Shiv. Is that good? Is that good, Jeff? Did we divert a little bit there? All right, getting back to the JFK thing. JFK was killed. Governor Connolly at the time, who by the way, I was friends with his granddaughter a couple of years back. I thought that was cool. I thought it wasn't even like I had to find out that she was his granddaughter. She was really pretty too. It was just revealed. Like I knew her last name was Connolly, but Connolly is a very common name, right? I mean, a lot of people with that name. And then one day I remember I just said to her, I go, "Are you Governor Connolly's granddaughter?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "How come you didn't lead with that? How come that's like, that's pretty cool. How come I've known you all this time?" And I had no idea that was true. So that was interesting. So Governor Connolly was shot. But also, we always seem to forget about J.D. Tippit, the Dallas police officer who was shot and killed at the Texas Theater, the movie theater where, or no, he was shot and killed on the street. You know what? I'm not exactly sure. So that's why I wanted to pull this up. Let's give Officer J.D. Tippit a little bit of love. J.D. Tippit, November 22nd, 1963, today is when he died, was an American police officer who served as an 11-year veteran with the Dallas Police Department. About 45 minutes after the assassination of the United States President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, Tippit was shot and killed in a residential neighborhood. In the cliff. Yeah, that's right. That's where Harvey Oswald ran to, the cliff, right? In the Oak Cliff section of Dallas, Texas. Lee Harvey Oswald was initially arrested for the murder of Tippit and was subsequently arrested for killing President Kennedy. Oswald was charged with both crimes shortly after his arrest, but was killed by Jack Ruby 2 days later. Jack Ruby, Chicago outfit mob associate. Just telling you, there's a whole bunch of stuff that supports my claim. Let's see. Murder investigation. November 22nd, 1963. Tippit was working beat number 78, his normal patrol area in South Oak Cliff. At 12:45 p.m., 15 minutes after Kennedy was shot, Tippit received a radio order to drive to the central Oak Cliff area as part of a concentration of police around the center of the city. At 12:54, Tippit radioed that he had moved as directed. By then, several messages had been broadcast describing a suspect in the shooting at Dealey Plaza. He was described as a slender white male in his early 30s, 5'10" tall, and weighing about 165 pounds. Lee Harvey Oswald was a slender white male, 24 years old, 5'9", and an estimated weight of 150. At approximately 1:11 to 1:14 p.m., Tippit was driving slowly eastward on East 10th Street, about 100 feet past the intersection of 10th Street and Patton Avenue, when he pulled alongside a man who resembled the police description. Oswald walked over to Tippit's car and exchanged words with him through an open window. Tippit opened his car door, and as Tippit walked towards the front of the car, Oswald drew his handgun and fired 5 shots in rapid succession. 3 bullets hit Tippit in the chest, another in his right temple. Tippit's body was transported from the scene of the shooting by ambulance to Methodist Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 1:25. Okay, so there you go. And we always talk about it. Always seems to me that people forget the fact that Officer Tippit was out there just doing his officer work, and he died too. So we should probably keep a good thought for both of those people. All right, let's get into what's trending, right? I mean, obviously there's something big that's trending, and we're going to get into it, and we're going to talk about it. But let's get some other things out of the way first. Let's just get a little bit of Well, I need a little something to drink. Drinky time. All right. Trending number one across multiple platforms, but not all of them. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is 4 days away. Man, I got to tell you, my plans for Thanksgiving got upended, but I'm happy. I'm happy. I am very thrilled to be invited to Thanksgiving dinner at some very near and dear close friend's house. Although, if I'm being honest, the original plan was that here at the One Percenter compound, we were going to have Thanksgiving. And man, I had that all planned out. I was going to watch football over here at my guest house, and then I was going to stroll over with a plate, and I was going to get some food. I was going to make some small talk for about an hour, and then I was going to bolt. That can't happen now. The dinner has been moved from the One Percenter compound over to the in-laws' home of the person, his sunglasses, E the artist, over to his in-laws' house, and they have invited me. And they've been very kind about it. And I think that is so nice because they're wonderful people. But here's the deal. I don't like being the stray. I don't like being the stray. I don't like being the the charity guy. I don't like being the guy that doesn't belong. I would rather be all by myself eating my I was going to get a Boston chicken. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I was going to have something else. Doesn't matter. Turkey, I can I can go without turkey. Doesn't matter. I have turkey sandwiches all the time. Excuse me. But they were kind enough to invite me over, and it'll be nice. Look, I absolutely know that it's going to be nice. But when you're an only child and a well-known loneliest, that's that's what I like to call myself. A loneliest. And I call it a loneliest, not because I'm actually lonely, because that garners charity and sadness from other people and they leave me alone. They just let me be a loneliest. I had my mindset on just because if my kid isn't with me, it's not I don't really celebrate these holidays anymore if I'm not with my kid. So the holiday, I've had a lot of Thanksgivings. I've had a ton of them. And, now add to that, I'm battling the gout. If you were listening last week, you know about my gout issues. Well, that's humiliating. My kid calls it the fat man disease, which, doesn't do a whole lot for my self-esteem. But, hey, he's 12. Any opportunity he can take to knock me down a few pegs, he's going to take it. Update on the gout. The gout is doing better, but as is my experience with this, it could flare up again at any moment. So I'm taking it easy, trying to be cool about the, walking around. Oh my God. On Friday, dude. We went to the Highland Park Wakeland High School football game, playoff second round, Texas State High School football. It was up there in at Allen Stadium. Allen Stadium coincidentally in Allen, Texas. It's the home field for the Allen Eagles, which from what I can tell, they're not even necessarily a powerhouse team, and yet they have like a multi-million-dollar stadium. This stadium was better than 50% of the college stadiums that I've ever gone to a game in. This high school stadium was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I got pictures. I shared them all on Facebook, and I shared some on, maybe I just shared them on Twitter. I don't know. Unbelievable. So on Friday night, the gout was really bad. And it was hard because it was such a good game. It was like the best high school football game I have ever been to. Came down to a 2-point conversion with 5 seconds left on the clock. Wakeland won. Wakeland, number 13 in the Texas State High School polls. Wakeland 13 defeated number 1 Highland Park. These are the North Region polls. Number 1 Highland Park in the final second by pulling a crazy 2-point conversion. All right, football fans out there. So they went for the 2-point. They could have gone for the 1 point and they would have tied the game. But they decided with 5 seconds left on the clock that they were going to roll the dice and they were going to go for a 2-point conversion to win the game, to put it away, to shock the world, to, have this upset for the history books. And it was the craziest play. I swear to God, they probably worked on this play every practice. Every practice, at the end of practice, okay, let's do that crazy 2-point conversion play in case we ever need it. And it was a direct snap. It was a wildcat formation, a direct snap to the running back who initially approached like he was running the ball and then jumped up in the air and flipped the ball to a guy in the end zone who was all alone. It was like a basketball shot. It was a jump shot. He ran the ball, stopped, jumped up in the air, and just went like that with the football. And nobody was covering the guy in the end zone because it looked like he was running. It should also be mentioned that the running back in question, the reason the defense really keyed in on him, he's apparently the number 1 rated running back in the state of Texas. And he had a pretty good game. He had a 52-yard touchdown that he broke, and then he was just breaking it. They contained Hylip HP, the Scots. They contained him in the first half. In the second half, he got the last laugh. So my foot was killing me. The gout was like, because I was on my feet the whole game because it was so good. And on Saturday, the gout was bad. And then on yesterday, the gout was just a little bit better. And today it's feeling pretty good. So thank you for being concerned. And that was my gout rant. And that's why Thanksgiving could be in question. We'll see how the gout is on Thanksgiving. We'll see if I can move around. Thanksgiving trending number 1. Trending number 2 today, Black Friday. Black Friday is, of course, the day after Thanksgiving. It's universally regarded as the craziest shopping day and the biggest shopping day of the year. And for the first time ever, you know what? I didn't cite my source on this, so I don't know exactly who put this out. But for the first time ever, it's being reported that Black Friday this year, 50.2% of all Black Friday purchases will be made online. First time ever. I mean, this used to be where everybody specifically went out to the stores. Now, not because people love the crowds, not because people are, they want to get into these crazy human mosh pits in the, toy aisle of a Target. That's not what it's about. Black Friday was always, for me, I used to go every Friday with my grandma to downtown Chicago, and we didn't even necessarily buy anything. But it's the, it's the traditional kickoff to the Christmas season. It's the first time when you get to see all the lights and, all the places will have the trees up and decorated and all that good stuff. So Black Friday brings people out for a multitude of reasons. But this year, and they're saying that it's has to do with 3 factors. 1, people are more comfortable now than ever before in spending money online. 2, the pandemic has caused a lot of people to be forced to do their shopping online, and they like it. They like it better than going and, doing the whole fighting for the last Cabbage Patch doll bit that they've been doing. And what was so we got the pandemic, we have consumer confidence, and I don't know. I forgot what the other one was, but probably wasn't as important as those 2. So 50.2% of purchases this year on Black Friday are going to be made online. I have to, this isn't the third reason, but I also have to say that, it's got to do something with crowds and our current aversion to being in a large crowd of people. It feels very, I don't know. I said this on the Pillow Talk edition a couple of weeks ago, and Sunglasses looked at me like I was insane. Whenever I go to a store now, or whenever I go to a restaurant, or whenever I go out somewhere where there are a lot of people gathered together, the first thing I do, and maybe this is a good habit, it makes me feel better, but the first thing that I do is I look around and I look for, where am I going to go? Should the shit hit the fan? Should something unexpected and tragic start to go down? What is my escape plan? And he was like, you do that? I'm like, yeah, I do that. I don't know. I do that because I'm a survivor. That's why, because I don't want to be victim. I don't know, So maybe that makes me crazy. But I think that attitude, the idea that, we just live in a time where people are targets, large groups of people are targets. And the pandemic. And that people don't think that your money's going to get stolen anymore for buying online. But all those things probably go into why this Black Friday is expected to be the first time ever where over 50% of purchases are going to be made online. Also trending today. Oh my gosh, look at this, folks. Did you see this? This is not some crazy poll put out by some sketchy organization simply to move the needle for one candidate or the other. But there's a new poll. This is a University of Texas Dallas Morning News poll that was conducted looking at the governor's race. And in a head-to-head battle here for governor of Texas, Matthew McConaughey is leading sitting Governor Greg Abbott 2-1. McConaughey, who hadn't even said that he's going to run. And my God, I hope he doesn't. Or maybe I do. I don't know. I go back and forth on this. I ain't voting for Abbott. I ain't voting for Huffines either, because Huffines makes Abbott look like Nancy Pelosi. So, that's like I say, way bunch of crazies on the left, way bunch of crazies on the right. I'm somewhere in the middle trying to find someone who's just not, awful. And that's probably going to get me to vote against Abbott. But again, not trying to be political. Matthew McConaughey hasn't even announced, and he's in this early University of Texas Dallas Morning News poll is leading Governor Abbott 2-1. Matthew McConaughey's chances of becoming Texas governor are looking all right. I like it when they do silly things like that in news stories. This, according to a shocking new major poll. According to a survey released by the University of Texas and Dallas Morning News, the actor, in a hypothetical head-to-head matchup, tops current Governor Greg Abbott by 8 points. In all, 43% of respondents say they would back McConaughey. 43% of everybody. How is that 8 points? 35% say, oh, there you go. 35% say they would support Abbott, and 22% would pick someone else. McConaughey fared even better against another prominent candidate in the 2022 race. According to the poll, the actor would trounce Democrat Beto O'Rourke in a hypothetical head-to-head matchup by a 49-27 margin. O'Rourke, who lost a Senate bid to Ted Cruz in 2018 and then flopped as presidential candidate in 2020, officially threw his hat in the ring earlier this week. In a three-way race, however, the survey found O'Rourke and McConaughey would split the anti-Abbott vote and allow the governor to win re-election. The poll in a three-way race has Abbott at 37, McConaughey at 27, and O'Rourke at 26. So that means that 58%. Okay, so that's the 8 points. So in a one-on-one race, as long as the anti-Abbott vote isn't split, in a one-on-one race, then it's an 8-point victory for the anti-Abbott candidate. However, this poll doesn't seem to factor in the presence of Huffines, who is also running, and he's running on the right against Abbott. He's going to challenge him. Maybe they just think he's going to be, sat down. But I also think that McConaughey is going to be sat down. Or McConaughey and O'Rourke are not going to battle it out. They like each other. McConaughey has said that he would support O'Rourke if he decided to run. So, McConaughey and O'Rourke are not going to split the vote against Abbott. That's not going to happen. So, but anyway, that's kind of... Is it shocking? I mean, look, man, Texans love their Matthew McConaughey. That's for damn sure. Matthew McConaughey, Tom Landry, when he's dead, Willie Nelson. How is Willie? Is Willie still kicking it? Is he well? I mean, I know he's still alive, but is he well? That is the question. Also trending, Not Billy is trending. You know what? I'm going to have to pull this up. I'm going to pull this one up for you because you got to see this. Let's get rid of this. All right. So do you guys know who Not Billy is? We featured Not Billy in a video, or at least in some pictures a couple of weeks back when I was talking about how awesome billy goats are. Well, yeah, here we go. So apparently Billy Gotti, the gangster goat, has died. That's right. Billy Gotti, the gangster goat, has died. He was a viral sensation. People love the gangster goat. So let's see. Let's get some pictures of Not Billy, the gangster goat. Let me scroll through here and find one. Okay, this one is sad. This is the lady who found Billy dead. This is Billy's gangster mom. Here we go.
Whatever it is you're about to tell us.
He died.
Oh, look at Billy.
God.
He died.
There he is. Billy Gotti, the gangster goat, has left us. That's kind of gross, right? What are we doing? We don't need to be looking at that, do we?
Jolie, that was your breakthrough.
I don't even know.
All right. So she's
world.
upset. She's Billy the Gangster Goat's mom. Here, maybe we'll give you some pictures of Billy the Gangster Goat. Here you go. This is a good one. There's Billy the Goat. We'll show you this one. Here's why he was called Billy the Gangster Goat. Because his name was Billy Gotti, and he used to get dressed up. There you go. You see, he's dressed up as the Gangster Goat. Let's make this bigger. Look at him there. Look at Billy. Billy doesn't know what's going on. I don't think Billy wants to be a gangster goat. I think Billy's probably happier wherever he is now. But that's Billy's mom, and that's Billy the Gangster Goat. What makes him gangster? I guess the do-rag, right? And the matching outfit. And then he's got sunglasses on. All right, so not Billy is trending. Not Billy the Gangster Goat. May he live on in our memories for all time. Oh boy. Here we go. No. Couple more things trending. Michael Cohen is trending today. Michael Cohen, of course, the hatchet man for President Trump for all those years. And then he took the rap for the whole Stormy Daniels situation. He is out. Well, he's out of prison. He's been out of prison, but he's been on home confinement. And today the home confinement ended. So Michael Cohen, the scumbag, is free. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of people. I don't think you can be a convicted individual. Well, I don't mean prison. I mean someone who has the courage of their own convictions. Michael Cohen, until the shit hit the fan, until he got caught up in the Stormy Daniels, writing checks, hush money checks and all that, until he got caught up in that, he was like the worst human being on the planet. I mean, this guy, if you ever saw him on the news, it was just the unrepentant, no shame, he was like the worst. And then he got thrown to the wolves, and suddenly he became like this cause celeb for the anti-Trump crew. And I'm like, oh, stop it. This guy is only, he's a terrible, terrible person. And yes, he's come clean. He has decided now to lean in to the opposition, the anti-MAGA world, and then divulge all these kinds of secrets. And don't think for a minute that he doesn't know where all the bodies are buried. He does. This guy was very involved in all of this stuff. Well, Stormy Daniels, he was involved in that. But don't think that's the only thing. He was Trump's right-hand guy. And now he's like leaning into the left thing, and people are celebrating him like he's some awesome guy. And oh, God. Just stop it. The guy is a piece of shit, was always a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit now. He's going to be a piece of shit tomorrow. So let's stop celebrating Michael Cohen. Enjoy your freedom, scumbag. All right. Hall of Fame is trending. We'll do this quickly for all you baseball fans out there because I know that almost none of you are, because baseball is a dying sport. And I'm basically the only person that still likes baseball. But the ballot for the Hall of Fame is out. So I'm going to list you the names, and I'm just going to go through it really quickly, and I'm going to say yes or no to whether or not they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Bobby Abreu, no. Barry Bonds, yes but no. Mark Burley, yes. Roger Clemens, yes but no. Carl Crawford, nah. Prince Fielder, yeah. Todd Helton, yeah. Ryan Howard, I don't know, man. I don't know. Tim Hudson, nah. Torrey Hunter, yeah. Andrew Jones, nah. Jeff Kent, yeah. Tim Lincecum, nah. Justin Morneau, Joe Nathan, yeah. David Ortiz, yeah. Jonathan Papelbon, no. Jake Peavy, no. Andy Pettit, no. AJ Przinsky, no. Manny Ramirez, yeah. Alex Rodriguez, yeah. Scott Rowland, that's a thinker. Jimmy Rollins, Kurt Schilling, no. Gary Sheffield, yeah. Sammy Sosa, yes but no. Mark Teixeira, yeah. Omar Vizquel, no. Billy Wagner, I don't know enough about Billy Wagner. All right, so there you have it. That's my rundown of who deserves and who doesn't deserve to be put in the Hall of Fame this year. That's your ballot, folks. So, if they came in the mail, you better fill them out now. Can you tell I've been slow rolling this? All right, let's talk about Waukesha, shall we? Also, the defense is now giving closing arguments in the Ahmaud Arbery murder trial. I don't know if that's going to be all settled and sealed up before Thanksgiving, but hey, I'm sure these jurors don't want to be sequestered over, because what are they going to talk about at Thanksgiving dinner? Obviously, talk about the big case that they're involved in. Also, we might as well do this now because we are waiting for officials in Waukesha, Wisconsin to give an update. The update is scheduled for the top of the hour, but as with these things, sometimes they don't go off as planned because for whatever reason. All right. I'm not going to show any video of the Waukesha, Wisconsin incident. If you want to find it, you can find it. I didn't share any of the video on Twitter last night when I covered the hell out of this story last night, man. If you follow me on Twitter, you can get me at Pugs and Co. From the moment it was breaking, I was on this story before CNN. I was on this story before Fox News. I was on the story before any of the major news outlets because I've got that crazy alert on my phone that alerts me when something big is happening. About a good hour before. So Waukesha, Wisconsin. First of all, Waukesha, Wisconsin is awesome. Waukesha, Wisconsin. You probably never heard of it, but it's a town. It's between Madison and Milwaukee. It's probably about 25 miles maybe outside of Milwaukee. Milwaukee doesn't really have traditional suburbs the way we think of them in other big cities. It's just a lot of like cow pastures, and then there's a couple little small towns. So Waukesha has maintained this Mayberry sort of vibe for its entire existence, and it's a great town, man. I love Waukesha. I spent a weekend in Waukesha once at a friend's house. It was when I was working in radio, and we did a retreat up in Waukesha for a weekend. It's the quintessential American small town. So when you hear that they're having a Christmas parade, my God, It's a Wonderful Life is all drummed up, and Mayberry, and just everything beautiful about what it is to be an American in the Midwest is just encapsulated in the entire vibe of Waukesha, Wisconsin. I said on Twitter last night when this first started that Waukesha, Wisconsin is probably one of my favorite places on earth. It's one of those kinds of places where if you live in Chicago or you live in a big city and then you make enough money and you retire and you just want to live an easy, sleepy life, you move to a place like Waukesha. You got your snowmobiling, you got your lakes, you got a beautiful downtown area with 100-plus-year-old buildings that are just pubs, a lot of bars. It's Milwaukee. A lot of drinking going on in Waukesha. A lot of places, a lot of corner taverns, a lot of places to get stuff to, drink and eat and fun. It's just a wonderful. Waukesha is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful city. And what happened there last night was just an absolute tragedy. The Christmas parade down Main Street in Waukesha, which runs right along actually not right along, but it's just there off the Fox River, which runs through the heart of Waukesha and then leads into, at some point, Lake Michigan. The Fox River, again, you can have all kinds of fun on the Waukesha is just awesome. Okay, I'll stop. I love Waukesha, Wisconsin. So here's what happened. They had the Christmas parade and the whole town turned out and everybody was, having their, my God, it was so middle American, it'd make you puke. It was just kids dancing on the streets, little kids, little toddlers with their parents on their shoulders, and people running around handing out candy, and the marching bands from the high school and the dance squads. They had the dancing grannies out there. They had floats. They had car dealerships with a cavalcade. They had the fire engines. It was like I say, the quintessential American small town seasonal celebration. I mean, it just couldn't possibly get any better than what they'd set the table for. And unfortunately, it ended with, as many things do in this day and age, tragedy, absolute tragedy. A completely sickening and sad, horrendous event took place. A monster driving a red SUV, a Ford Escape, broke through the parade route and just floored it. He'd gone through, I'd say 3/4 of the parade until he reached a bottleneck which was caused by the Waukesha Extreme Dance Team, which is a dance team comprised of teenage girls who, attend the dance classes, and, it was your big moment. You're going to be in the parade. At which point he just decided to plow right through these girls. Now, in front of them were the aforementioned dancing grannies, who were sure to put a smile on everyone's face. A bunch of old ladies out there in their pom-pom gear, doing their old lady dances, making everybody smile. What a fun, beautiful event that was. Well, he tore right through the Waukesha Extreme dance girls and then right into the dancing grannies and then sped off down the road. And in the early moments of this event, I'll tell you, there is not a more disheartening representation of humanity than social media hot takes in the immediate aftermath of something like this. It was bad, man. I mean, everybody just, and again, oh, hold on a second. Let me pull this up. We're going to go live here to the press conference in Waukesha. It's only going to be audio. Okay, folks? Hope that's all right.
Domestic disturbance, which was just news prior.
Chief Dan Thompson.
And the suspect left that scene just prior to our arrival to that domestic disturbance. When the suspect was driving through into the crowd, one officer did discharge his firearm and fired shots at the suspect to stop the threat, but due to the amount of people, had to stop and did not fire any other additional shots. The officer is on administrative leave as part of the department protocol. No one was injured as a result of the officer firing discharging his firearm. The subject was taken into custody a short distance from the scene, and we are confident he acted alone. There is no evidence that this is a terrorist incident. Due to the wind yesterday, there was a power outage downtown Waukesha to further complicate our emergency response. I want to identify the victims that we know of at this time. And I say this with great sorrow. Virginia Sorensen, 79-year-old female. Leanna Owens, 71-year-old female. Tamara Durand, 52-year-old female. Jane Kulich, 52-year-old female. Wilhelm Hospital, 81-year-old male. The suspect involved in this tragic incident is identified as Daryl E. Brooks, male, 39 years of age, who is a resident of the city of Milwaukee. At this time, the Waukesha Police Department is referring 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide with additional charges based on the investigation, but those will come in time. There are many roads in downtown area were closed as investigators worked through the crime scene. Those roads have since been opened. I'll say this, minutes after the incident occurred, I responded to the scene, and what I saw out of chaos and tragedy was heroes. First responders and the community coming together and working together on triaging victims, the fire department working in partnership with the fire department, getting these victims to the hospital. Fire department transported multiple victims. Chief Howard will talk about that. Officers picked up victims and put them in a squad and rushed them to the hospital. And citizens also picked up victims and rushed them to the hospital. There's also off-duty law enforcement, fire, and EMS personnel that were attending this event who immediately got involved and took part in saving lives. I want to thank our community partners. I want to dispel some rumors. There's no pursuit that led up to this incident. This is not a terrorist event. I want to thank our first responder partners. It is a long list, and I apologize. We apologize if I forgot anyone. Waukesha Fire Department, no words can express the partnership that we have with the Waukesha Fire Department, how we work together as one in this incident. MABUS, Mutual Aid Box Alarm System, Chief Howard will talk about that. The Suburban Mutual Aid Response Team, which we call SMART, responded, which it includes a dozen local law enforcement agencies, FBI, ATF, the state Division of Criminal Investigations, School District of Waukesha, the Milwaukee Police Department Fusion Center, the Wisconsin State Crime Lab, Wisconsin State Patrol. After this press conference, we'll provide a link on our website for any questions regarding witness information. If there's any additional video that a citizen might have, they can look at this link, or any family members or individuals that need to recover property. The Waukesha Police Department website is the only source for information. Do not release information from any other source as it has not been vetted and could lead to false information. Thank you.
Chief Howard. Thank you, Dan. Before I get started, on behalf of the men and women of the Waukesha Fire Department, I'd like to say our prayers go out to the families in the whole community that was affected by yesterday's tragedy. The City of Waukesha Fire Department responded to a mass casualty incident yesterday afternoon. All 26 on-duty personnel responded to the incident from 5 stations. Our closest downtown station was within sight of the parade route. Our units started to spontaneously respond based on radio traffic and dispatch information. We immediately activated our mass casualty protocol and utilized the MABUS, which is our mutual aid system, box alarm system, to the second level to provide us with additional resources to treat the victims. We received resources from 12 area fire departments. We were also aided greatly by off-duty firefighters and EMS personnel, medical personnel, and just civilian bystanders. They greatly assisted us with our initial treatment and triage of patients. Patients were transported to 6 area hospitals with the fire department EMS transporting 22 patients. Law enforcement personnel, bystanders also transported additional personnel or additional victims to the hospital. At this time, we believe that 48 people were treated at local hospitals, although this number might increase based on information being gathered. Like Chief Thompson, I also had an opportunity, did respond to the incident. I got there just a little bit after the chief did, and based on my observations, very, very overwhelmed by the response of the community to this tragedy. People banded together to do the best they could to deal with this incident. Last night, going out and visiting the fire stations and the people that responded, overwhelmingly, our personnel expressed their sincere thanks for everyone who stepped up and assisted with the treatment of the citizens that were injured. Again, our hearts go out to the families and the victims of this senseless tragedy, and we appreciate all the assistance and support that's been offered to the City of Waukesha Fire Department.
Mayor Sean Riley.
Thank you. Last night we experienced a senseless tragedy. Many of us were participants in the parade and witnessed these horrific actions. We are all trying to process what we experienced. Our police, firefighters, partners, and so many others sprang into action immediately last night to help the people that were injured. For those of you who do not live in Waukesha, you need to know that Waukesha is a community that helps their neighbors. Waukesha is a community that takes pride in its identity and has a wonderful spirit. Waukesha looks after each other. Waukesha enjoys its celebrations, and the entire community joins in those celebrations. We are a close community. Waukesha is a community where many of its residents have lived for generations. Waukesha is also the type of community where new residents tell their friends to move here because it is so special. Waukesha has held what can be described as a Norman Rockwell type of Christmas parade for almost 6 decades. Last night, our wonderful Waukesha parade became the scene of a horrific tragedy. Last night, that parade became a nightmare. Last night, many were severely injured. Last night, lives were lost during the middle of what should have been a celebration. Last night, many were severely injured, lost their lives, and all who were there were traumatized. We experienced a horrific tragedy. We have so much healing that needs to occur. Waukesha, though, will not be defined by the horrific events of last night. We are a community that will come together. We will help those who experience the loss of a loved one or were injured. We will work together to bring healing. The healing needs to begin now. Our prayer vigil will be held tonight at 5 p.m. at Cutler Park. The Waukesha Public Library, which is immediately adjacent to it, will be closing at 4 p.m. so the public can utilize that parking lot. The downtown South Street parking ramp, which is also immediately near it, will also be open for free parking. We know that members of the community want to help out and help the victims. The Waukesha County Community Foundation and United Way of Greater Milwaukee and Waukesha County have joined together to create the United for Waukesha Community Fund. This fund will support the needs of the families impacted, and there will be a website on our page that will tell you how to access that fund. Many people witnessed traumatic events last evening. If you need to talk to someone, you can call or text 800-985-5990 to be connected to a trained caring counselor, and they are available 24/7. That number will also be on our website. Please only call 911 for true emergencies. There will be a resource center set up at Carroll University for all victims from 2 to 6 p.m. Tuesday and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Wednesday. That information will be placed upon our website. The District Attorney Victim Assistance Program is also available to provide assistance, and an email for that service will be shared on social media. Our community needs to heal from physical injury and emotional trauma and what was taken from us by this Census Act. What we do today and the days ahead is what will define us as a city, and I know we will come together and help Waukesha heal. Thank you.
Dr. Jim Siebert.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm deeply saddened by yesterday's events and the tremendous impact they are having on both our school community and the larger Waukesha community. I want to begin by thanking our partners at the city and the police and fire departments for their leadership and partnership. We are focused on our kids, our staff, and our families, and making resources available to them.
All right. That's. I wanted to see if there were any questions that were going to be. I assume there will be, but all of the town elders are getting their chance at the microphone to sort of talk about what happened yesterday in Waukesha. So here's what we know: 48 people were injured and taken to area hospitals, 5 of whom have passed away. The ages of the 5 are 74, 71, 81, and 2 52-year-olds. It sounded like the majority of them were women. I would imagine, based on context clues of all the things that I've been following, that many of them were members of the Dancing Grannies performance crew. We'll call it that. A lot of kids were injured. Like I said, I'm not going to share the video. You can find it if you want. There's plenty of just video of the carnage. and you see the video running down a bunch of teenage girls. Now, it seems to me that none of those teenage girls have passed, although with the 48 in the hospital with various degrees of injuries and many in critical condition. Well, let's do whatever you do, whether you pray, whether you keep a good thought for people, just and not to make a distinction between the older people who died and the younger people, but look, five is far more than any community, especially a community of that size, should have to handle. The suspect has been named. Very important here. He is 39-year-old Daryl E. Brooks. He has been charged with 5 counts of intentional homicide. He is, and I've done a whole lot of information and background looking on this guy. Oh wait, hold on a second. Let me stop down again. I don't know who this is now.
Afternoon. I am Vice President of Critical Care and Specialty Services for Pro Healthcare.
Okay,
in my role, I work.
We should get from this guy some details on what kind of injuries we're looking at.
Process. I'd like to start by expressing my sympathies and those of everyone at Pro Healthcare for the victims and their families. This was truly a tragedy for our entire community. I'd like to thank all of the first responders and the others who came together to do what was required last night. All involved did outstanding work. Among the 48 victims of the parade tragedy who were transported to area hospitals, 29 arrived at Waukesha Memorial Hospital. The hospital is just blocks away from the parade route, and victims started arriving very quickly after the incident. In fact, many of Pro Healthcare's staff were attending the parade, witnessed this tragedy, and provided immediate first aid to victims. There were many children among the victims brought to Waukesha Memorial. After initial assessment, stabilization, and treatment, we transferred 11 of those to Children's of Wisconsin. 4 victims were admitted to Waukesha Memorial. They are all currently stable, and many of them will likely discharge from the hospital today. Those patients admitted included both children and adults. 12 people were treated in our emergency department and released. 1 patient presented to us and left without being seen. Sadly, one of the victims who was brought to Waukesha Memorial was pronounced dead on arrival. In addition to those who were on duty at Waukesha Memorial last night, many others rushed to the hospital to help. They included nearly every one of our emergency department physicians, countless surgeons, anesthesiologists, hospitalists, and nurses. What I saw on display last night in response to this crisis was nothing less than the highest level of professionalism. Our coordination with local fire and local EMS worked flawlessly.
Okay, so we've basically heard all that. So we got an idea. Actually, I still don't have an idea of what the most critical. Hold on, now who's talking?
But be mindful. Nick, I'll start with you.
Questions. Okay, let's listen to the questions.
We're going to be limited in scope with the information that we can be released at this time due to maintaining the integrity of the investigation. Moreover, the judicial process, we want to be transparent, but we're also mindful that we're not going to compromise in any aspect of this investigation. We're dealing with 5 counts of intentional first-degree homicide here. Please be mindful of those when you ask your questions. Nick.
What can you tell us about the arrest? Where was he located? Was there an incident there? Was he injured? Did he say anything about what led up to this and what happened and why he kept going?
There's about 5 questions in that one question, so I'm going to do my best to try to answer that. We can tell you that the investigation does not indicate that there's any type of domestic or national type of terrorism. We can tell you that there was some type of disturbance that we suspect was between the suspect and another individuals at a different location just prior to the incident. Shortly after this tragedy occurred, officers immediately identified the suspect vehicle, and shortly after that, they apprehended the suspect. The suspect had no injuries. And then after he's detained, he was taken into our custody. That's still ongoing. And this is a fluid investigation. What we do not want to do is jeopardize the integrity of this investigation at any point. Right now, our focus, the Waukesha Police Department's focus, the City of Waukesha's focus is the families, the victim, and due process, right? Because that's important.
Brett Lemoy? Is this for the chief? Okay, go ahead.
Can you just elaborate on that domestic situation? We understand that there may have been a knife involved, and did Brooks know someone in the parade?
So we have no information that Brooks knew anybody in the parade. But I will say this. We weren't able even to respond to that domestic call before it actually, so we couldn't even investigate it. So was there initial complaint of a knife being involved? Yes. Do we know if there actually was one there? We don't know, because we didn't even make it there. We end up immediately responding to the crisis.
Okay, so there was a incident that Brooks was involved in that he was fleeing from, but because he
I'll tell you this, we actually had a squad and barricades up, and he drove right.
Okay, it seems like we got basically all of the key points, at least as far as I'm needing to go on with whatever it is. Mike, you know what? I just realized the camera is way too high today. All right, so hold on. 1 second, hold on.
Give me a moment.
All right, so the driver of the red SUV is in custody. Daryl Brooks, 39 years old, Milwaukee resident. He was involved in what is being reported as a stabbing incident. This has been reported for 12 hours now. We're having it confirmed now for the first time by the Waukesha Police Department. So he was a dirtbag criminal out doing dirtbag criminal things. Apparently, he stabbed somebody and jumped in his car to flee the scene at a high rate of speed. I'm getting the hell out of here. He apparently, see, this is where, you don't want to speculate. But at some point, he ran into the parade route. Now, parades don't happen every day. So I am just making an assumption that while he was fleeing to go back to I believe it's a place he was staying at on Maple. I mapped this whole thing out last night. As he was fleeing the stabbing that he committed, he somehow turned onto Main Street, and Main Street was shut down because there was a parade. He blew through a barricade and raced his red Ford Escape through the parade route, where he plowed into the Waukesha Extreme Dance Company and the Dancing Grannies, causing what we've learned now are 5 deaths, 48 injuries, and just absolute horror for the good people of Waukesha, Wisconsin. Now, 5 counts of intentional homicide is what Daryl Brooks is being charged with. And intentional is very important, because anybody who's seen the video, and I've seen the video, and maybe you have seen it as well, anyone who's seen it knows damn well that it was intentional. Damn well that but the issue that was going around very early last night that was just so disheartening. I mean, people heard reports of this, and then immediately it became political. It was in response to the Rittenhouse situation, which happened in Kenosha, which is, another town in Wisconsin. They don't border each other. They're not far from each other though. I mean, you could easily, if you lived in Waukesha, you might go shopping in Kenosha. I mean, it's not crazy far. But they're not adjacent communities. They're not, but because of that happening, everyone just sort of jumped on the whole, oh, this is a Rittenhouse thing. This is obviously, this is a terror attack. This is intentional. And it was intentional. Don't get me wrong. When he drove through these people, he did it on purpose. He could have stopped the getaway vehicle, jumped out, and disappeared into the crowd if he wanted to do that. But he didn't. He made a decision that he was just going to say, fuck it. And he just drove through people. Now, what I witnessed very early on that made me suspect that this was not an act of terror, and so many people online seemingly just wanted this to be terror. They just so desperate. This is what you get in Obama's America. This is what you get with the MAGA crowd. It was that whole thing. And it was so gross. And there were blue checks, certified blue checks on Twitter, people who are ostensibly to be trusted, who were just putting out some of the most thoughtless and ignorant garbage in the early stages of the. I don't understand how Twitter can keep these people verified as blue check. I just don't get it. The jumping to conclusions was so disgusting on all sides, on the far right and on the far left. It got so bad that there were enough people identifying Darrell Brooks as the monster behind the wheel. There were so many people that legitimate news organizations were refusing to name him because, you can't trust anybody anymore. You got to do your due diligence, especially if you're a journalist. I mean, I did because I saw enough of the blue checks and enough of the news sources. I give credit where credit is due. Heavy.com. Whenever anything big happens, any kind of big news story happens, Heavy.com, which, sounds like a silly fly-by-night, and it's certainly not a legacy news organization, but over the years, I have determined that Heavy.com will give you the facts. So if Heavy.com was saying it, I thought, you know what, this organization has enough credibility. They were the first to show a picture, a zoomed-in picture of the man behind the wheel of the car. And they were then the first to cross-reference that with the mugshot of Darrell Brooks, the dirtbag who did all of this. But man, it was like, even not like he's a Black Lives Matter guy. He's, he was doing this because of the Rittenhouse thing. I mean, come on, man. This guy, look. This guy is a dirtbag, to be sure. But, I mean, especially now that we understand, or at least that it's been confirmed by the authorities there in Waukesha, that this was a criminal fleeing another scene who just got caught up in the parade and then made some even worse criminal, monstrous decisions to just gun it because his freedom was more important. I mean, if you watch the videos, and like I said, that's a you decision. You're going to have to decide whether or not you want to see the carnage. But if you watch the video, this idiot drove for a good, 2 miles along the parade route without hitting anybody. He was driving reckless, and we are all lucky that someone didn't step off the curb and get hit by this guy in this stupid red SUV that flew down the almost the sidewalk. But, the parade was marching down the middle of the road, and there was a little bit of room on both sides. He had, if he was a terrorist looking to create as much death, destruction, and mayhem as possible, and this was me watching it last night at 7:30 at night. If he was a terrorist, you would think, why didn't he swerve? Why was he actually avoiding people when he could? This is not to say that he's a good person. He's a piece of shit. But what I'm saying is his intent was not to be a Timothy McVeigh or a Las Vegas shooter. His intent was not to just kill as many people as possible. His intent looked to me to be somebody who was just driving like an asshole in a place where he shouldn't have been driving like an asshole. It was only when he got to the group of Waukesha extreme dancers who were the first group in the parade that you could see who were spread out from curb to curb. There was nowhere for him to go around them. And in that moment is when he went, fuck it, I'm going to murder a bunch of people. And he is a monster and he is a murderer. And he did make that decision there. But we're talking about the intent in the way that people online seem to just so hopefully and gleefully celebrate the idea that this might have been a terrorist. It's not. He's a scumbag, career criminal, dirtbag who made a dumbass decision and got trapped in a parade and then made an even more monstrous decision. This guy is just a fuck up. That's all there is. He's a fuck up, dirtbag criminal. There is no political agenda at work here. But we're hearing it, now. If you're on any of this, so if you're on Facebook, if you're on any of these, you're going to read from people that, oh, he was a Black Lives Matter operative. Why? Because he's black? Because he's a black guy? No, he's just a dirtbag. So let's learn a little bit more about this. This guy is not smart enough or engaged enough with the world around him to have any sort of political agenda. This guy is gonna get me mine. That's what he is. He's just an awful piece of shit. So here, let's pull this up. But it's upsetting that we exist in a world now where every evil action has to be either a win or a loss for a different wing of our insane political partisanship in this country. It's good. Here, we'll pull this up. Let's take a look at this guy, huh? First of all, did you know he was a rap artist? Oh, yeah. He was a struggling rap artist. He claimed to be Milwaukee's best rapper. He went by the name of Math Boy Fly. And up until this morning, you could actually pull up his videos on YouTube, which so crazy. One of his videos actually features the red Ford SUV that he was driving, which is bizarre for a couple of reasons. In hindsight, it's like, oh man, that's the creepy car that was used. So I guess that really is him. And secondly, what rap guy is going to show off with a Ford Escape? Yeah, I mean, come on, man. We're ridiculous. All right, so let's go through this. This is from heavy.com. Let's learn a little bit, 5 fast facts that you need to know about Daryl Brooks, aka Math Boy. There he is. There's that son of a bitch. Look at him. Daryl Brooks Jr. I'll pull it up here just so that y'all we can just look at him there in the picture. Let me make sure it's sharing. It is. Yeah, there he is. There's that. All right. So let's learn about this monster, shall we? And then let's forget about him for all eternity. Let's just throw him in a room and never check on him again. Daryl Brooks Jr. is a Milwaukee man who was taken into custody in connection with the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy. At least 5 people were killed and 48 injured. The 39-year-old Brooks was identified by Waukesha Police Chief Daniel Thompson at a press conference on November 22nd. Well, today. Thompson said Brooks was driving the SUV and had been involved in a domestic disturbance not long before he is accused of driving into the holiday parade route, and that he had left the scene before police arrived. He was not being chased by officers before entering the parade route. That's another thing. Idiots, the anti-police crowd. That's another moronic sort of leap that they made early on in this. Well, if he was fleeing another scene, obviously it's the police who are to blame because they were probably pursuing him. But as we heard from the chief of police, he committed the crime and then within minutes drove through the parade route, causing the horrors that we saw. Nobody even had time to respond to the initial crime. So nobody was following him. He wasn't being pursued. You get what I'm saying, right? But the anti-police lunatic left was over there going, this is on the police. No, it's not. It's not on anybody but this fucking monster. That's who it's on. Thompson said Brooks was alone in the SUV, and the incident is not believed to have been an act of terrorism. Brooks will be charged with 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide along with other charges, Thompson said. He identified the victims as Virginia Sorensen, Leanna Owens, Tamara Duran, James Coolidge, and Wilhelm Hospel. Brooks' social media accounts and online court records show that he is an aspiring rap singer with a lengthy criminal history and 2 open felony cases for which he was released on $500 and $1,000 bail. He just got out on bail 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And he's already getting himself involved in, I mean, this is an incorrigible piece of shit. When Brooks was detained, police found a Ford key on him, according to the scanner audio obtained by Heavy. Police squad cars were at the Milwaukee address used by Brooks after his name was mentioned on the scanner. Heavy confirmed that 2 Milwaukee police squads were outside his home. All right, here's what you need to know. 1, a red SUV is seen in a rap music video recorded by Brooks. Here, we've got this one. This is what I was mentioning. And he's also, look, I'm not the world's greatest judge of, there it is. There he is. Look at him doing his, I'm so cool. I'm a hip hop guy. Check out my fly Ford Escape. Please. I mean, geez Louise. Let's see. What else does it say here? A red SUV is seen in a rap video recorded by Brooks, and he posted about the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict on Facebook. So he was a Facebooker with hot takes. Brooks raps under the name Math Boy Fly. He had a YouTube channel with rap music videos, but it's been deleted. And that's unfortunate because I've heard his music and I was going to share some of it with you, but, just so you can get an idea of what an idiot he is. Let's see. What else do we have here on this guy? There's a picture of the car in front of his house. Brooks has open felony cases in Wisconsin's court system. According to the Waukesha police audio scanner, the name of the suspect who drove the vehicle. According to the Waukesha police scanner audio, the name of the suspect who drove the vehicle into participants in the parade is Daryl Brooks. We know this to be true now. This was posted last night. One officer says he left his ID in the vehicle, and another describes him as a black male with dreadlocks. Brooks has an extremely long criminal history, including open cases. Daryl Brooks Jr. of 19th Street has open charges filed on November 5th, 2021 in Milwaukee courts for resisting an officer, felony bail jumping, second-degree recklessly endangering safety, with domestic abuse assessments. I don't know what all this means. Disorderly conduct and battery. All right, so he's a troublemaker. He posted $1,000 cash bail on November the 19th. In this case, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, he is accused of intentionally running over a woman with his vehicle as she was walking through a gas station parking lot after he followed her there after a fight. So look at this. The open case that he's got is with a woman that he got into a fight with, and then she fled him, and he tried to run her down in a parking lot. He was out on bail for that. That's despite the fact that he has another open felony case out on bail, even though there's a second felony case. That's despite the fact that he has another open felony case in Milwaukee County from 2020. The Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm released this statement. Below is the summary of pending charges against Mr. Daryl Brooks. On July 27th, 2020, the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office issued 2 counts of second-degree recklessly endangering the safety and felon in possession of a firearm. Cash bail was originally set at $10,000 and subsequently reduced to $7,000. Unlike some other states, Wisconsin requires payment for the full amount of bail set in any criminal case. Okay, so look, we don't want to get into this. The system is messed up. All right, what else do we have on Math Boy Fly? Oh, apparently he loved his weed. Well, come on, that has nothing to do with this. There's a lot of normal people who also love their weed. He has prior convictions for bail jumping, marijuana possession plus second offense. So he got twice. Obstruction of an officer, third marijuana possession, substantial battery on an individual. Okay. He has a lengthy arrest history. Do we want to go through that? We don't really need to go through that. We understand this guy is a chronic criminal. Trying to get through all this stuff. Here, you know what? Let's see some of his own. Stop sharing this. We're learning about this piece of shit, Daryl Brooks, who, when faced with a clogged road, looked at a bunch of beautiful young teenage girls and thought, I'm just going to floor it. Actually, you know what? Let's try this one. Let's see what this one is. Okay, so here are his own words. Should we get to know the man? Should we see what the man has to say? Because, you know, we might be completely wrong about this guy. He might be just an absolutely wonderful guy who's just being completely railroaded. Here he is in his own words, Mr. Daryl Brooks.
And then as soon as we fall out, all of a sudden now I'm a pedophile. Let me explain that. 10 years ago, 2006, I caught a case with my oldest daughter's mama. Yes, my baby mama. She's from Oakland. I was busting moves in Nevada. I meet the bitch. She says she want to get down, so I'm pimping on the bitch. I'll take her to Nevada. You know what I'm saying? I get cracked. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know the bitch was 16 at the time. She gave a statement to the police and told them, yeah, she was hoeing, that I was pimping, and that she was 16, and that I didn't know that. Okay?
All right, so there you have it. By his own admission, he's trying to defend himself by admitting that he was pimping out underage kids back in 2006. And somehow he feels that he's being railroaded here. That, hey, hold on, let me explain my side of it. Yes, I was a pimp. Yes, I did take an underage girl across state lines. Yes, I was pimping her out. But come on, is that illegal? The world is not gonna miss this guy. Unfortunately, I don't believe that Wisconsin has any kind of death penalty. So, you know, the best this guy has to look forward to is life in prison. But he probably won't even get life in prison, to be honest with you. All right, here, we got more. This is more. I don't know what this one is. Let me see here.
And it's the kid,
Hold on.
And it's the kid.
Okay. See if this one is sharing. Hold on. All right. This is Math Boy Fly on Twitter. Let's see what this is. Here we go. Is it sharing? Well, I don't have anybody to tell me. Here we go.
Kid Jake Fly, man, you know what I'm saying? And it's the kid Jake Fly, man, you know what I'm saying? I just want to talk a little bit about that presidential address, man, from Obama, man. Crock of bullshit. I don't even know if it's ISIS or ISO anymore because he was switching it up a lot, man. But y'all trying to push us towards World War III. You know what I'm saying? And it's the kid Jake Fly, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want to talk a little bit about that presidential address, man, from Obama, man. Crock of bullshit. I don't even know if it's ISIS or ISO anymore.
All right, so guys, hold on. We've got a bit of an emergency going on right here. Can we all hold on for a second while I hold on. Mason! We got the pool man is here and the dog is in the yard. So just give me a second here. We'll get back into this. Mason! Are you dressed? Get the dog. What's up? You gotta get the dog. There's somebody here. Get over here right now. Get over here. Sorry, we weren't expecting you today. Sorry. You get upstairs. Let's go. Get upstairs. Get upstairs. Are you done? No. You're in the middle of it? Yeah. Get the dog inside. Get over here. Come on, let's go. Get inside. Get inside.
Damn.
Close the door. Oh my goodness, folks. Oh, there you go. I've been. Ay. Can't see anything without my glasses. Here we go. I was like on a whole rant there. We were listening to some of the finer thoughts of Daryl Brooks. So what just happened was, I don't know why, I guess because it's the Thanksgiving holiday week. The pool guy came on a day when he wasn't expected to be here. The dog was in the yard. Oh my goodness, we just almost had a terrible, terrible incident. All right, so I don't know what I was talking about. Anyway, so now we know what a piece of shit Daryl Brooks is. And, he's obviously been a piece of shit his entire life. What happened there in Waukesha was absolutely tragic. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit taken out of my vibe. So, in closing, here's what we know. I had a whole thing that I was going to go into here. In closing, here's what we know about the situation in Waukesha, Wisconsin. We've got 5 people that are dead. 48 were taken to the hospital. We know that this was not, not believed to be any sort of domestic terror incident, which so many people were really seeming to hope it was. Garbage people. It is just a dirtbag criminal doing dirtbag criminal things with absolutely tragic consequences. Not everything has to be because of the way you vote. Not everything. I'm sorry. There are still just random, stupid, horrid people out there trying to take advantage of the world that we all try to exist in. And sometimes their idiocy causes mayhem and tragedy and grief and sorrow for That's all this was. I will admit, though, when it first happened, the very first reports, I believe I started hearing about it at 5:30 yesterday, 5:30 evening. I was making dinner for my kid, and I heard someone had driven through a parade. My very first thought, before knowing anything, my very first thought was, oh God, could this be a Rittenhouse thing? But then, you start to follow it and you start to see things and you start to piece it together. And if you don't go into these sort of situations with an agenda, you are given or granted a bit of clarity that somebody who has an agenda is not going to see. I saw very early on that this guy could have killed so many more people, but didn't seem to be deliberately running into everybody that he possibly could. He seemed to be driving recklessly. He seemed to be very close to, no, come on. She can't be out here. Oh, folks, we're going to end the show. we're going to end it just a little bit early. No, bud, you didn't do anything wrong.
No, I gotta go to the main house though.
Don't go to the main house until the pool guy leaves. He'll leave in a few minutes. All right. Well, there you have it. Let's see. Let's run down here really quickly, see if there's anything new that's trending. And then we're going to wrap it up. We do what? We do 2 hours. We've done an hour and 48 minutes. It's not like I phoned this one in, did the whole show by myself. Kind of proud of myself for that. I think I did fine, even though we did have the interruption of the pool guy. Oh, hey, you know what? I did want to see this. Get rid of that. So I had pulled all of the dude's videos, and it seems like they all got taken down, but maybe this one didn't get taken down. Let's look at this garbage from this talentless fool. All right. Math Boy Fly. This is a video called Business that it seems to still be up. So let's see. If not for this event, I'm sure that he would have gone on to be the new Puff Daddy. Let's check this fool out. There we go.
Phone jumping off the chain like what's the business? I'ma pull up with the yay like what's the business? Eating lunch with the blood like what's the business? AR double drum like what's the business? 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 Catch me sliding to the trap like what's the business? Grinding trying to make a stack like what's the business? I'ma pull up on you like what's the business? She gon' give it to the kid like what's the business? 30 shots in the clip like what's the business? You don't gotta choose it like what's the business? All my niggas on the job, what's the...
Well, he's no John Hinckley. I'll tell you that much. All right, we'll get out of that one. Here on my Twitter feed, Let me pull this. Oh, no, I can't pull this up. Somebody did mention something that I thought was really interesting about that. I don't know why that video is still up. I pulled it last night and set it in a different file for today's show, but I also did that with the other video that featured the red SUV. The video featuring the red. Yeah, you can go, kiddo. You can go. Just don't let the dog out. Make the dog stay here. The video that features the red SUV. What is going on with the sun? Okay. The video featuring the red SUV that he used in the attack, that's you can't get that one now. I don't know why that one, it says this video has been removed, this channel has been scrubbed. But that video that I just played for you came from the exact same channel, and it still seems to be working. I don't understand. I am not a very smart person when it comes to these things, so there's probably a reasonable explanation. But somebody on Twitter pointed something out that I thought was interesting. Saturday Night Live over the weekend had a bit where it was called, it was a game show. You know, Saturday Night Live always leans into their old little sketch ideas, which is always a game show. There's always a game show. This game show was called Guess the Republican. And the idea of it was that these people would come out and they would be asked certain questions, and you would like think that they couldn't possibly be a Republican, but then they turned out to be a Republican. The overarching premise of it was that there is no Republican values anymore, that it's just all over the road. It's whatever you want. And someone on Twitter was pointing out that this guy, this guy, Brooks, and I don't mean to laugh, but it's just such an absurd concept. He was anti-Obama, which I think that was in one of the videos that we played. He was anti-Obama. He was pro-gun, because in his video that was taken down, he's showing off all of these guns and he's talking about guns and all that stuff. And he's a Christian. And in that same red SUV video, he was talking about going to church and praying. And even that one that we just played, he's talking about, and I pray. So it's like this guy is anti-Obama, pro-gun, and a Christian. Is he Republican? And that was the whole point of the Saturday Night Live bit. You'd go, yes, that person is absolutely Republican. And then you'd see him and you'd be like, oh, geez, no, he's not Republican. So I don't know. We're all over the road. Terrible, terrible situation. Let's move on from that. I wanted to see if there was just anything else here that we could... Oh, okay, yeah. Here's a couple of feel goods. Speaking of Rittenhouse, so tonight is it Tucker or is it Hannity? I'm not sure. I don't watch any of those anymore. I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch Fox News. But apparently, Kyle Rittenhouse is sitting down for an interview. I think it's Tucker. I think I might be playing a little bit dense here, but I believe it's Tucker. Kyle Rittenhouse is going to be sitting down for an interview with Tucker Carlson. And he's causing a lot of... Okay, I got to pull this one up because it's kind of funny. So Kyle Rittenhouse apparently tells Tucker Carlson that he supports Black Lives Matter. Okay, here we go. And then this Twitter post says, watching conservative Twitter head implode in real time. So here, we'll pull this one up. We'll just show you some of the statements, I suppose. All right, there we go. So there it is. Okay, so is that Tucker? Probably. So Kyle sits down and he talks with Tucker, and let's see here. Okay, the quote here is, "I'm not a racist person. I support the BLM movement." Kyle Rittenhouse, who was recently acquitted of murder, told Tucker Carlson. And then you got a bunch of people like that cowboy says, "I changed my mind. Kyle is not white. I repeat, not white. Code brown, code brown. He is not one of us." What does that even mean? "Spent 3 weeks praying for this dude to be acquitted just for him to say this," says Christoph Walker. It's this one. "It's fucking over, man. I'm done. Society is fucked. It's all over." All this because apparently tonight Kyle Rittenhouse is going to say, "I'm not a racist person. I support the BLM movement." I found that to be kind of funny. He's now, after all of that, going to be, hey, whatever, guys. Whatever. I don't know what to tell you. I think he's probably just saying that, as a bit of a personal reclamation project. 55. I think I've gone far enough. I think we've done enough. We are going to do a show tonight. We're going to do the Pillow Talk edition. However, tonight's Pillow Talk edition may not be as long as the typical 2 hours. We will see how that goes. But again, my kid's off school all this week, so I've got him here up until the Thanksgiving holiday, and I'm a part-time custodial father, so I don't like. We might do a movie night. You guys can understand. If you guys got kids, you might understand. So maybe we'll do 9 to 10, and then me and him we'll go do whatever we're going to do at 10 o'clock. But also be prepared for at some point him to say something like, hey, we should go to a movie tonight. And then me being the sap dad that I am, I'll be like, okay, what time does it start? 7 o'clock. And then, you might get a text that says, no Pillow Talk tonight. But I would say right now in this moment, 85% chance that we're going to do at least some kind of Pillow Talk tonight. I promise you that. Just, follow the show, follow on all the different platforms, and we'll let you know. Also, this season of thanks, you can always support the show by any of the links down there. But you can also support the show by going to your Thanksgiving dinner with your family and doing nothing ad nauseum. Just talk this garbage up. We need to grow. We need to grow. We need to grow. We need to grow. You people, first of all, let me just tell you, the hardcore of you, the core audience, you're here every day without fail. We've got a solid number of people who watch live that doesn't really waver all that much. And then we see the numbers of people who, then listen to it later and all that. We just so appreciate you. Those numbers are very static, and there is just a hardcore group of you folks that we can always count on for your support. But we need more. That's all I'm saying. We just need more. We need to keep growing. I don't know if that'll happen with shows like this, but hey, I'm out here trying. All right, love you guys. Appreciate you. And again, 85% chance that we're going to do a Pillow Talk tonight. 87.5. I'm feeling now. I feel like I got things that I need to say that I haven't gotten off my chest here. Hey, we're up to 89% now. 89% chance that we're going to do a Pillow Talk show tonight. Sunglasses will not be with us, though. Parker might. And if not, it'll just be me. Maybe it'll be me and my kid. I don't know. Probably not him. Don't really want to include him in this. What else? Never-ending quest. John Hinckley. Yeah, that's it. I got nothing else. All right. Love you all. Have a great week. Enjoy this beautiful day in North Texas. Sunny, cool. Doesn't get any better than this. See you tonight for Pillow Talk. Bye, everybody. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.